You'd think you know family betrayal. What about a story where a father, after decades of toiling abroad, returns home only to walk into a trap laid by his own blood? This cuts so deep, right to the bone of family, culture, and the shocking depths human will go just for greed. In 2017, after 25 years of relentless hustle and building a life in the bustling New York City, Peter Muokwa made the decision to leave New York. He was ready to embrace a new chapter, to build a peaceful life for himself back home in his own homeland, Anambra State in Nigeria. But what truly awaited him there, what he walked directly into, was a living nightmare. A trap laid by those he should have trusted the most. Today, I'm going to guide you through every shocking twist, the hidden truths, the cold deception, the harrowing moment his own king, his very blood, betrayed him in the most cruelest way you could ever imagine. Stay with me towards the end and I will share crucial moments, including the warning that ultimately saved his life. A moment of pure divine intervention, some would even say. And of course, you know I'm not on this journey alone. Today, I have my incredible friend, Ebuka. He's here with me to join me on this one. Come on, Ebuka, say hello. And by the way, it has been a minute.
What's good, Amaka? And hey, what's up, Offscript fam? I'm so glad to be here, especially for a story this strong. I apologize for missing in action because of my recent travel, but I think I've seen a hint of the story here and there. And I've even heard few stories about what happened while on my way back, so. And by the way, don't think I forgot. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. And hope you brought back all the goodies, cause yeah. And you'll be amazed, okay? And to be honest, I didn't even post last week. I thought I would, but I didn't at all.
Yeah, I kind of noticed because I went to your podcast waiting for a new upload, but I didn't see anyone.
You know what? If I'm being honest, a lot have been going on, especially on the news, on the streets of socials. This story in particular, because of how sensitive it is, I had to do my research, make more inquiries, because at this point I was hearing different stories and I didn't want to just come here, jump on a story just for clickbait or just because everyone is jumping into it and not necessarily dive deeper into it to find out what was happening, because it's really touching when I heard it,
Sounds like a lot. But I'm definitely ready to dive into this one with you.
Yeah, same here. And thanks again. My birthday was very low key, okay? And I know you were expecting me to party.
Yes, now.
No party. It was just me, my spa, and okay, it was also a little bit intimate because I and my family just did a little bit dinner, pray, drink wine, just eat, share stories, do testimonies. It wasn't out there at all, but it was fun. I just enjoyed myself.
Wow, not bad. Spa time, that was not bad. And again, you spent it with family. You celebrated your birthday now. But you're young yellow. You better come out, be coming out and be partying in. Anyway, I'm around now, so we have to do a little bit do-over of this, okay?
All right, I would like that, but I'll think about that. But enough about me, okay? So you've gone through the story, maybe not all, you've seen some clips here and there. What do you think of the story?
Honestly, what I heard got me on the edge of my seat. Cruelty? Nah, it was a peak for me. But I want to hear the full story. Let's do this.
Okay. So, Ifunanya, she's based in the US, a brilliant young woman from a very loving family. Her father, Peter Muokwa, dedicated 25 good years of his life working tirelessly in New York. You know, the classic immigrant right now, you jackbar, you want to go for greener pasture, you know, try your best to build your own life, your career, and then retire with a good pension. And you know how we do it now. You send money home to take care of your loved ones. If there's any building project you put, and in his own, he was building for his future, you know, to just peacefully retire in his hometown.
25 years in New York City. Wow. That's quite a stretch. I completely understand someone craving the peace and quiet after that kind of commitment, especially connecting back to his roots.
Exactly, you know? Because if we're honest, most of when it comes to most immigrants, especially those from Nigeria, and I know now because a lot of people are buying now, right? And some people will be like, why are you coming back to Nigeria to do? It can be quite stressful here. The security, we know how it has been dark this few days, right? But still, most elderly people, maybe because of the climate changes, the fact that they hunger to go back to their home, to connect back to their root, a lot of times it's easier for them to want to, come back to their roots, to family, just to relax. And again, let's be honest, the expenses you're going to do when you're in Nigeria compared to abroad, compared to New York, is quite different. You don't even have to spend so much to have a good life. And if you have traveled, you've made your money, Nigeria is like the best place to come and retire. And especially if you have your family around you.
Yeah.
So you see, he did the normal thing. So he thought, okay, maybe it was the allure of the fresh air, I don't know, hunger for community, I don't know. But he tried reconnecting, contributing, just settling down in peace. And so he planned his retirement well. He began a construction of a beautiful residence just beside his apartment, a testament to his fruitful years of labor in abroad. By 2017, he decided, okay, it was complete. It's time for me to pack my bags, dust my shoe, and he made the pivotal move to Anambra State. Ifunanya, on the other hand, was at the airport, waving goodbye to her dad. Just imagine the moment, okay? Bittersweet. She would miss her dad, of course. And but his return home was paramount, and it was due. So with a heart full of love, she bade her father farewell. Now, back in Nigeria, you might think distance would completely alter their connection, but not at all. They kept in touch, they maintained it, consistent contact, and in fact, take anything out of an Igbo man. But one thing you can never take out from an Igbo man is his love and affection for his first daughter child, his Ada. His Ada is everything. In fact, you stand a better chance from taking or separating an Igbo man from his money than you can separate him from his Ada, because the bond is not here. And of course, it also happens same way for the men, okay? Most of the times, our mothers and their opara, which is the firstborn sons, you cannot separate them. They are inseparable, okay? So the division of labor is fair here, okay? And I know you cannot compare the love the father have for his sons to his daughter. Like, a lot of times, it's not like they neglect the son, but Igbo men are built to be tough, okay? You have to retake responsibility. You have to be there for your family as the son a lot of times. So while you might get the pampering from your mom, your dad's job is to push you to the wire to survive, but his daughter, he has to cater for her. And that is how it should be, okay? Because it is tough out there.
When it comes to Igbo men, and I feel like I'll give that to girls that when it comes to Igbo men and their first daughter, that bond is truly special. Sometimes if you go, you have the standard for how to woo your girl, only for you to find out that, especially if it's an Igbo woman, only for you to find out that this girl, her dad is the love of her life. he has set the standard so high that you're not just competing with other men, you're just competing with her dad. So even women, especially their first daughters, are spoiled. The first daughters might not be star sports, but most daughters just know they're very spoiled by their fathers because most dad love their girl child. And of course, they like the sons to pass on their seed, but most of them, the connection they have with their daughters is different.
I'm dead. Is it just pass on the seed for me? But we digress. So their relationship was very tight until all of a sudden something shifted. The communication stopped just like that. At first, when she thought about it, she was like, you know what? I'm busy, he's busy, life happens, right? But the sudden silence, no warning, just crickets. That was alarming.
Wait, you said before their communication was very smooth, right? So when it stopped, that was when the alarm starts ringing.
Yes, exactly. So fast forward to early 2021, 4 good years after his return, Ifunanya started noticing profound changes. Their communication became less and less frequent. The calls dropped. Initially, she tried to, brush it off. Everyone gets caught up, right? But then her apprehension deepened for truly disturbing reasons, like how? For 6 agonizing months, nothing. Crickets. Impenetrable silence. She would call, she would send voice messages, top up his end time, send money, no response. Mind you, this man is making 5,000 US dollars from his pension. So Ifunanya didn't even need to send him all those things, right? But at this point, she was desperate to hear her dad's voice. She didn't even need to top up his credit to find out what was happening. But, as a daughter, desperate to get to her dad, she had to do all those things just in case. But no response. Still, that is suspicious. She just decided, you know what? This is getting too much. Her concern escalated with every passing month. What on earth was happening to him? It became an unbearable question. And you know how, as humans, sometimes when you don't know something, your mind keep playing tricks on you. Sometimes, unless you go through to the root of the problem, you might even have sleepless nights. So back to the story. Peter's house was located strategically within the family compound, so it's easily accessible to his brother and sister.
So wait, all this while, she was trying to connect with her father. All this while, her uncle and her aunts were living around.
Yes. Okay. You know how in Igbo culture, right, our structure for living, our house structure is usually compound. Like maybe if you go to the city, maybe very few wealthy, rich Igbo uncles would build compound in the city, right? Like, and the idea is so that you could keep the bloodline intact, like for communism, for togetherness. Even though there are some people that will tell you that even that is not ideal, because sometimes times are hard, right? Someone can see you enjoying with your family. It might even be a blood, okay? And I know you say God forbid, yes, but just follow me, right? You can be with your family and decide, okay, you're enjoying your life, doing good for your other family, and then before you know it, because they are seeing everything you're doing, envy has started entering. So sometimes it's even better, locate here. If our family will come together after family meeting, we'll meet later. And there are a lot of things I want to touch on this story. Maybe I will touch on the next episode. I don't know. But for now, in order not to overwhelm the whole story. But yeah, they were located in the same places. So tell me why every time she contacted them, desperately seeking to speak with her father, like asking, where is my father? Like, can I speak with him? His phone has camera. At least video it, Kwano. Let me see that this man is not dead. Let me see he's alive at least.
Knowing our people, especially when it has to do with money, their straightforward answer isn't that straight. They will whine you.
Do you get? But if it was whining now, it would have been understandable. But no, this was not whining. Whining is like, Okay, maybe out of the 6 months of non-consistent contacts, right? Maybe a week out of the 6 months, or maybe 2 days out of the 6 months, you cannot get through. Maybe let's say you blame it on you being busy. I mean, you have your own life, right? Or maybe you're just you're not in the mood to run on unnecessary errand at that moment because you are tied up to something, or you probably traveled or something like that. Like, that is understandable, right? But going full blown 6 months without communication, now that one is another thing. Like, anytime he calls, is either he's asleep, he went for a walk, I'm at the market. The excuses were endless. Like, she couldn't even find out where he was truly, and that is the worst. Because it was exactly deep down. You don't need a suicide to say something is really wrong. And then there was coupled with the fact that she started having this dream, vivid dream, disturbing dreams of her father bound in a chair, tears streaming down his face, calling out to her that.
Sure.
And these weren't just fleeting images. According to her, they were recurring. It was like a prophetic warning, spiritual alarm, if you call it. And that was when Ifunanya decided, you know what? I'm heading back home. I'm have to go back to Anambra and find out what is wrong with my father by myself. There was no other option, because you know how they say, if you want to get a job done, do it yourself. So in 2022, she boarded a flight to Nigeria. Part vacation, yes, of course. Part to visit her boyfriend, because her boyfriend is in Nigeria. But primarily to see her father. And that constant agitation, filled with worry, sometimes your mind will play a trick on you. Why had he cut off? You can't see. Even I, as a Nigerian, and I'm saying this because my mom is one person who is not always around because of work. She's either traveling within Nigeria, outside Nigeria. And sometimes she might be in, let's say, Enugu. Let's say she might be in Enugu. She might be somewhere in the north. And I'll call her anytime. Or let's say she might even be in my hometown, maybe when she just stepped down and I've not heard from her. 2 days I'm fidgeting. If I cannot get through her because the network there is really horrible, I'll have to call my uncle. Do you know sometimes my uncle might be in the meeting, he will leave it, because once I'm calling, you have to get to my mom. Like, I want to speak with her. If my mind begins playing trick on me, I'll have to get to the root of it, right? And guess what? They're going to find her talking of someone living beside you. So, of course, she couldn't fathom it. So, when Ife landed in Lagos, she took a connecting flight to Anambra straight. Then another 1 hour, drove down to Enugu. Home sweet home, right? She finally arrived at her compound. Now, you would think, as an Ada, coming back from this long, exhausting trip, she would get a warm reception. Nah. What she discovered when she got there was not just cold welcome, but there was this massive mound of heap sand completely blocking the gates.
My uncle and my auntie saw me and began saying, "How dare you? I'm gonna kill you. You're a prostitute. You sleep in hotels."
And Auntie Joe have literally been throwing sand on See, you see this? You see this? You see this? You see this evil?
Of names, hauling insult at her. I'm going to kill you. You are a prostitute. Ha. I'm sorry, I'm laughing now, but it's crazy, right? It's crazy when you think about it, because this woman went out to even start throwing bets at her.
Wait, this is a joke, DeSantis. This is not that serious. From where to where? What did she say? Am I missing anything here? Was there any other altercation between them?
No, you're not missing anything. This is what literally happened. Like, she came in, they started hauling insult at her. Nothing she did to warrant it. They just came out of nowhere and pounced on her, started attacking her.
Wow.
I know, right? Not just that. Meanwhile, While all these things are happening, Ife is in a social group called Umwada in Igbo culture or Omenana. No daughter is ever denied entry to her father's home. So for a little cultural context, for those who are not familiar with Igbo culture, or for those in diaspora, our traditional communities are founded on respect, on profound respect and clearly defined rules. Okay, there are some structures which, of course, for the sake of this content and sticking to the story, I will mention only the ones related to it. So we have like the Eze, the king, right? The custodian of the land, the high-ranking title holder. Okay, now we have another one, the Onowu. Onowu is not an Eze. Onowu is like an advisor. Okay, it's like this people spoke man. Okay, very vital to Umuna too. So Umuna are like the main family members that share common ancestry, right? Responsible for the lineage continuity. And then this is the group. If he falls into Umada, the daughter is born into the family line, regardless of where they are married to. As Umuada, just because you're married does not mean you don't have a position in your father's house. You still have position in your father's house. After everything, right? If there is a serious issue in your family, that's in your father's house, in the community, right? You, provided you have joined the group, right? You have a say there. You come back. Okay, so their main function is usually to maintain order, resolve disputes, uphold justice, and respect, especially for the land. And they also fight for people's rights too, especially when it's done well. Okay, so this is our Omenala. To disregard it is like you're shaking the community's foundation, and there's a fine for it. Okay, so Ifunanya, who happens to be part of Umada, literally, which means daughter of the kindred. They are the voice of the community, always welcome into their father's home. An inviolable rule, okay? So to deny an Ada an entry into her own father's house, especially when he's still alive, never disowned her, is an arrow, is an abomination. Okay? And one thing that makes Umada so powerful is that, do you know that Umada are very strong? Like anything they say stands. I don't want to stretch it like that, but those who have encountered Umada, if you know, you know. Just make sure you're on their good side.
I've witnessed Umada are strong. Like, I feel like that saying, fear woman, was because of Umada, because without Umada, the same way they fear Umada, I dey fear them. I witnessed them first hand in my auntie's wedding. Let's just say, try not to piss them off. And everything on that list, everything on the list for Umada must be provided unless your wedding or your ceremony won't hold.
You get it, but that is not the only thing. That is just the surface. Now, to emphasize on their power, okay, even Umuna, the men, are learners when it comes to Umwada. You know, I remember a story my mom once told me about an uncle, right? That was when I was much younger. She talked about this man who, not my direct uncle, just a kindred man too, right? And his story went around because of what Umada did to him. So this man, he has touched small money now. You know Nigerians, and once you touch small money, you start feeling like you're the king. So it's not your chance to oppress somebody now. So he felt because of that, his wife was the punching bag, was given to him by God to just tame, punch at his own disposal. It got too much that every time he was disfiguring this woman's face, and people know this woman as a good woman, you understand? This man was warned by his friends. This man didn't listen. He was warned by Ideze. This man didn't listen. He was warned by his kindred. This man didn't listen. Guess who they took this matter to?
Umada.
Yes, exactly. They took it to Umada. What they did to him. What they did to Oga. Let's just say he never in his life raised his hand on women again. But I digress. So when Ifunanya returned to her compound now, do you know that aside from the hostility, they literally barred her from entering, like attacked her. Every tactic, started calling her names.
Oh, wait. When they were calling her all these names, is it that she stays in hotel? That means she can't come and be with her family or stay in her father's house.
That's $1 million question. That's $1 million question. Because at the point, when I was going through this, I was like, what the hell is this? Like a child came back to her compound, her father's home. The welcome you're telling her is that she's lodging in a hotel. Okay, if she sleeps in a hotel, maybe because that is a sin or so. And let me paint the picture. The picture of this her auntie. You know these women that they will tell you that the typical good women, they would tie hair, cover themselves. This is the picture of this woman. You expect her to be demure. You expect her, like, if outside appearance is what is the ticket to heaven or your ticket to goodness, this woman should win an award. But with the way she tied her scarf, somebody said you would think she tied her soul into it. Like, calling her, maybe, I don't know why, but I'm trying to make sense out of why she called her a prostitute. And what I'm also thinking is, okay, fine, even if she's a prostitute, can't a prostitute see her father again? Like, she literally came rushing back because of she's scared of her father's safety. She's obviously not there to sell markets, right? So attempting to now force her out from her own compound. So while all these things were happening, you know, like I said, it's community now. That's one beautiful thing about community. It has its advantage and disadvantage, because before you knew it, the chaos was attracting people, passerbys were witnessing it, even villagers started coming in. Before you knew it, the youths came in too. So she went there, she gave the youths cola, she gave them drinks, you know, to call on them like, look, this abomination is happening. I'm being chased out of my father's house for no reason. Someone that I came to see to find out if he's alive. At least that's what I came here for. So you're like, this thing was too much to the point that I got to Onu. That is the advice, and he knew how quickly things to spiral out, you know. So he immediately called the police station in Akwa, you know, the state capital, for formal intervention. Because if this thing goes, something could just happen, can escalate. And this lady, let's just say she is a visitor in Nigeria, because even though that's her father compound, she doesn't know much there, right? And with the boldness they are using to work, you don't know what is backing them, what is giving them mind to act out how they're acting out. So the police people arrived and asked Ifunanya, okay, if she wanted to press charges because Ifunanya was battered. But she was like, you know what? No, I didn't come here for fighting. All I just came here is to see my daddy. That's all. Maybe after once I've seen my daddy, I know that, oh, my dad is alive. Then we can proceed. But for now, let me just see my dad. So when they said, okay, fine, you heard the girl. Oh yeah, where is her dad? They started lying again, saying, oh, that Mr. Peter is in Abuja, that they even contacted Uncle Christopher.
Who is Uncle Christopher?
Okay, Uncle Christopher, this one is the one in Abuja, okay? So, surprisingly, when they called him, he collaborated and said yes, that his brother was in Abuja, and that tomorrow she could speak with them.
So, Uncle Chris was in on it too? That's deep-seated conspiracy. How many were implicated?
Too many. Turns out he was in too. Like, who needs an enemy when you have a family like this, right? After that call, the villagers were like, you know what? You've heard it now. Because who are you going to argue with? If you look at the house, it looked deserted. It was getting late already. They were like, you know what? They agreed that they will return the next day. Even if I remember, she hasn't even rested though. I doubt she even ate. So I felt like, you know what? It was already late. Let them go.
It's locked. The gate is locked. The gate is locked. The gate is locked. The gate is locked.
It's locked.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay. Thank you. You've seen it.
So there was this elderly woman in the corner observing all these things, and she was like, call her somewhere. Call it a divine intervention. The woman was like, you know what? Whispered in her ear that her father is inside that place. Like, she should not listen to her uncle and her auntie. That they have been inside. And the truth is that...
Wait. Her father had been inside all this while when all this knocking were going through.
Yes, he was inside.
So how come they did not know? How come they didn't know that he was inside?
Well, according to the story, they said that they have not seen the father outside for years. So when the aunts lied that he was not around, it was believable because he was not coming out. So when the woman told her that, the elderly woman told her that, you know what, your father's inside, you better go save him, it now dawned on her come. This is now full-blown crime. So she decided to, you have to use wisdom. She decided, okay, she told the police people, thank God they were there, like, you know what, now that even though her father is not around, they have all agreed, but let her just go inside, search, and find out for herself. Just, just to rule it out of the book. Don't need for coming tomorrow, save. Let her just relax. Very harmless and all. And they're like, okay, fine. Everybody were there, the police. Anyway, those people, the way the uncle and the aunt were acting, I won't even lie, I wouldn't put it past them to try to shalaye, right? But they decided, you know what? Cool. Let's go do the searching. So she went to the officer, they opened, everywhere was locked. Oh my goodness. So they decided to do a quick check. When she entered the house, the stench that hit her first, a foul odor of neglect and decay, before she even saw him, like the odor that greeted her.
No. He was there all along, and they lied to everyone's face. That's pure evil.
That's an understatement. So she stepped in. Her father laid on the floor, barely clinging to life, on a soiled mattress, with his pee, feces, urine, all there. Imagine coming back to meet your ailing dad, to meet him in the state of neglect by his own people. And who knows how long he was left there for death without feeding. But it looks like years because he emaciated, dehydrated. I doubt they even, if you look at the picture, I doubt they even gave him water to sustain him. Barely conscious. His beard matted, his fingernail overgrown like that of the Nebuchadnezzar, like skin shriveled, a mere shadow of his former vibrant self. The sight was so horrific, it was like horror movie coming to life. People just shouted. All because of money. And the truth is, like I said earlier, no one has seen him for years, so it was very easy to believe that he was not around. And when people found out all this while, the man was inside decaying, clinging to whatever he was holding there. Like sometimes when you hear some things, you're like, God really is mysterious. God is, because it could only be God that could save him for such situations. Now, I would have rushed him to the hospital if it was me seeing him in such critical situation. But because of Ifunanya, her faith and her belief, I would respect it. She said that the Holy Spirit told her that she shouldn't move him that night. Okay. So she left him under the care of the police to watch. Then she returned to her hotel, to retire, maybe to think, to plan her execution and to plan for the next day. Determined to remain in Enugu until both the law and tradition backed her up in her rescue mission.
Oh, wow.
So the next day, Ifunanya picked her bag and her aunts were summoned to the station to give statements. Discrepancies in auntie's story was like, it was shaking. The story was no story. Every time she keeps making up new story and the other. So she was arrested and later released on bail. So then all that proceeded, they went to Onuwu's place, to seek tradition. The Onuwu, being very educated, understood what was happening and he was rightfully appalled. So he swung straight into action. Like, this man is earning 5,000 USD, convert it into Nigeria. That now money, how many millions, okay, left in his states? Like, how can a man who have been, like, you guys are using his money, his yet no conscience. No conscience. You want to strip him of his dignity. You want to strip him of everything, and including his life. So he demanded for Peter's health card. Before he knew it, the auntie said it. The auntie was like, okay, let her go and bring it. She vanished. And it wasn't out of guilt because I doubt she had kids. One of her aim was just to delay the proceedings until, Ifunanya gave up. But Ifunanya saw the state of her father. And I don't even know why she believed Ifunanya would give up. I don't know why she believed she would give up because she has seen her father in dire need. Do you think she'll just pack up and go like that without a fight? Ifunanya vacation time was already running out. Bear in mind, she risked losing her job or even abandoning her father, which she couldn't do. So she decided to call her office and explain everything to them, which miraculously they gave her 30 days paid extension.
Wow.
Yeah. So when the health card was found, which revealed that Peter had suffered a stroke in December 2020, get this, 2 years had passed, no medical care.
What?
Meanwhile, his 5,000 USD monthly pension was being siphoned by his family for their own gain. The honor winner advised her to appeal to Umuna, the male king now, and then went to Peter's house. But Auntie Josephine and Uncle Francis again barred the entry. When the Umuna came, they denied the Umuna, they insulted the Umuna, called them all sorts of names, and refused to open the gates.
Even the Umuna was denied. In Okwa.
Audacity? Yes. They were. Call it audacity, call it sheer stupidity, I don't know, but something was cooking at the background. Late at night, the young people, they stood around the bed because they understood that, okay, this thing has passed. Like, this thing has passed, Jeremy. This is now we are crossing dangerous territory. And they decided, you know what, so we see what is happening. We see this to the end, right? And that is the work of the youths, right? So they guided the compound. But 4 a.m., soldiers came in with gun, blazing, threatened to open fire if the crowd didn't disperse. Then while this chaos was going on, immediately, Francis and Josephine moved Peter into the army's bus and sped off a full-scale kidnap. Okay,
this is now sounding like full-blown Nollywood movie.
I swear. That was my exact thought. Because when I was researching this, I told myself, this will make a good traumatic roller coaster movie. Like, I feel like Tyler Perry, if not Nollywood, Tyler Perry will make a good run for his money. Like, come on, look at it. The plot thickens at every turn, right? And it's a good trauma bonding movie.
Oh no, don't do Tyler like that. Don't do him like that.
No, but serious now, have you watched Straw?
Actually, I watched Straw.
You did?
Yeah.
How is it?
It was okay. What about you? Have you watched Straw?
No. I haven't watched it. Wow, so you watch it and I haven't watched it. I actually downloaded it. I need to watch it, but I haven't. Because honestly, I feel like, it's another Tyler Perry movie, But don't you think this will make a good, at least, Netflix movie? No?
I see it making a good movie, but that is where it should be. It should be a movie, not real life. It's almost like as if art is imitating life.
Yeah, like where do you think they get all these inspirations from? Where do you think? Although with the way it happened, I didn't expect it to be this dark, right? Before I digress, Ifunanya immediately reported it to the US Embassy as an international incident now, because remember, the dad has served US faithfully for years, okay? So, for 3 agonizing days, his whereabouts were unknown. Like, just when you think it's getting bad, the plot thickens. The embassy were under pressure, and the police had to take a decisive decision. After intense pressure, the aunt and the uncle returned Peter. The police arrived, but Auntie Josephine still refused entry, pretended to misplace the key. The youths broke the locks, they used ladder, they climbed in, entered the balcony to rescue him. If not for Ifunanya's protective instinct that surged in, with unwavering resolve, she guided him gently into a car and they sped off. And even when Peter began to recover, the web of disease stretched across the continent. Soon, the threat that came from an unexpected source This time from Uncle Ike in America, claiming power of attorney over Peter, demanding visit be arranged through him.
For what? These people are criminals. Oh.
My thought exactly. Like, as the elder of the family, you discovered that your brother was at the brink of death, and his brother in America, who you expect to be exposed, tries to hinder his own daughter from literally rescuing her father. I don't know where this audacity is being sold, but damn. Yet Ifunanya stood firm to obtain his travel document. His US passport was expired at this time, but his Nigerian passport, however, was still valid. Like, after 9 days in the hospital going intensive treatment, the doctor issued a fit to fly certificate. As they traveled to Lagos, something mysterious even happened. As they were going 10 minutes before they could reach the airport, the tire flattened. One last test before the freedom. And that is how Peter was finally saved by his daughter. Finally. You would think the nightmare was over, right? But it got worse. The aunt and the uncle went ahead to sue her, calling Ifunanya a gold digger.
What? Is it not her father? Who is she supposed to be?
That's the audacity we're telling you. Like, so all these years of this man toiling for his family, in the mind of his brothers and sister, he was doing it for them, not his immediate family. When the Bible says the heart of man is desperately wicked, and this time around, it's happening in the family. Do you want to know where the money was going into? You know that heap of sand that I mentioned earlier in the front of the gates? Beside Ifunanya's dad's house, they're using his money, his pension money, to build their own mansion for themselves.
Wait, Amaka, wait a minute. So, you mean everybody in the family, they are into this? Because I was thinking, the audacity, this kind of audacity for them to do that, it has to be coming from outside. To, like, someone there up there have to be protecting them. And someone with resources.
Yes. Exactly. And it's the mind in which they used to execute this that it scared me. Like, can you imagine coming back to your father's land, expecting to see your dad? Then when you came in there, the kind of drama that took on, even Nollywood is learning when it comes to it. And on top of that, when these people were caught in doing wrong, they decided to sue. Like, they even kidnapped. Let's not even talk about sue. They decided to kidnap. Like, you know when they have caught you? When they've caught you, you've messed up, they caught you. Instead of you to now apologize or repent. Of course, that repent to be fake because they caught you. I only repent because they caught you. But no, they couldn't do that. Like, that is how rotten their conscience have gone. And they proceeded to kidnap him. Even when the police, soldiers, we are in on it, we are aware.
Yeah, that reminds me. Even the soldiers that just came all of a sudden to kidnap her up, don't they have integrity, brain, or regard for their uniform?
Tete John, please don't say it on my show. I'm begging you. Please, I didn't say it. I didn't. I didn't say this allegedly, okay? Like, yeah. You know, in a sane community, in a sane society, you think they would have sense. At least, maybe if you hear this from a police person, you might understand that, okay, this is how they roll. But for you to hear it from a soldier who's supposed to have more discipline, right? It is unbelievable. But the good thing is that all these things ended up well, right? Because after the endless court appearance, papers, lawyers, and back and forth between Enugu, Lagos, and Anambra, the hospital in Lagos finally declared him to fly. But the truth is that even though this thing came out as a victory, the emotional scar, the legal battle, the trauma still lingers. Like, that's why when I see people who want to japa, right? And once they japa, they don't want to come back. I don't blame them.
You know, I have a cousin whom my mom always complained that they don't come back. And let me know, like, sometimes my cousin will come back. But you know the funny part, this guy will come back, his mom will tell him to stay in Lagos, not to be done. The guy will stay, flex with me, like flex with those he want to flex with, because whether you like it or not, Nigeria is sweet and you have money. You know, when you convert that money, it's sweet. Not like everybody out there is doing well, but the beer is sweet when you have the money and you're in good company. So the man was like, I didn't tell you not to come back. Or come back. They want to go and meet him at Lagos. Tell him go back. You don't blame people with that mentality. I know some people want to be like Nigeria is not that bad, right? The security is not that bad. But come on, when you hear all these things, this is happening in someone's family. It's not more of a stranger. What gender is this?
Seems like a lot to take in, right?
Yeah.
This whole story, there are a lot of things to learn from it. Touches the coercive power of greed within families. A lot of times they tell us about the enemies outside, but we are never given enough tools or equipped with enough knowledge to know it's the enemy within, right? And not to say that people should go out there looking for the enemy within. That is not even a life choice, hobby, or career choice. I hope not. It also touched on the exploitation of cultural expectations and the imperative of self-advocacy for those you love, And speaking of the cultural exploitations, especially when it comes to expectations, to revert back to that Mr. Ike. A lot of times in Nigeria, elders, a lot of times they abuse the opportunity and the entitlement of privileges being an elder comes with. And I feel like a lot of times, maybe one of the reasons why Ifunanya didn't, react immediately or take action earlier, because she was relying on the elders. So maybe, at first, even in his letter, in his message he sent, he talked about how everything has to pass through him, So they have been there before. So my question is, where do the youngins, for lack of a better word, step in and say enough is enough? I understand that the system might be rigged in your favor, but not when it has to do with my right, my humanity, and the life of my loved ones. Where do you draw the line? And here we get to see the problem with respect of culture in Nigeria, where it is abused, right? And there is this thought that I can't shake no matter how much I try. Is the confidence in the rubbish. Like, you know what, Ebuka, now that we've come to the end of the story and we're about to close, what are your final thoughts? What do you think about this?
One question I can't stop asking myself is, where were people when all this were happening? I still have question about the communication. Why she didn't try her best to get through her dad? Well, you've given me valid reason why she didn't. But what happened? Was it you want to tell me it's only that woman that saw everything happening to Ifunanya? Like, happening to Ifunanya's dad? I don't want to believe so. And also, those soldiers that came and used their power, I can't shake those stuff. For the life of me, I can't shake it off. And it also shows how the society is rotten. Thank God for culture. It was also used, the Umadas, the youths. But we all know that knowing Nigeria, if Ifunanya did not have financial support or backing from her own end, I doubt she would have gotten the justice she deserved.
Yeah, I see your point there, right?
But enough of that. The good thing is Mr. Peter is now rescued and they have a triumphant end. So, Based on all this story, do you think he would ever set his foot back to Nigeria with all this experience?
I don't think someone can survive such trauma. Do you know what it means to be locked into your own house? Like a land where maybe you're supposed to face you're supposed to experience love, welcome and acceptance, and experience the rest days of your life in peace. And all you have to remember is your own blood plotting. Like he literally has nobody in him. Like the way it sounds, it looks like nobody in his family is on his side. That's the way it looks. So I doubt someone like that has not gotten his own fair share of trauma and PTSD. I doubt that. And also on his daughter's part, I don't even know if she will want to come to Nigeria again. Because this kind of experience is not something you just forget all of a sudden. Remember, this was the 6 months. One of the things that I didn't mention this earlier, but I forgot to mention it. You know, when all the things were happening, and you ask what gave them the audacity to do it. I think if you pay attention to the whole story, and maybe if you see how it played out, I don't think they were expecting her to come back to look for her dad.
But they do know he has a family.
Yeah, but the way they sounded so confident in what they were doing, the abuse they were throwing, and for the fact that, bear in mind, like I wanted to say, remember one of the things that made Ifunanya come back was when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the dad wanted to cut her off, and she was like, "Okay, something is definitely wrong." Right? So it got me thinking, maybe they really were trusting that maybe because nobody came to check in on him, or he has stayed 2 years already without anyone coming to check up on him. I don't know how the whole thing went, right? But this is me, I'm an observer, right? I feel like maybe when they felt like, oh, nobody have come to check up on him after a month or so, or they feel like, oh, they have a support from outside via Uncle Ike, you know, you probably have some good chunk of officers in your pockets, allegedly, right? And I'm thinking, right? So maybe they have so much confidence in that oh, yeah, she probably is, maybe they'll think about his family. You know, your family probably are not aware of the culture. A lot of things are probably against you. And by the time you come again, we have survived. Remember, people believed that this man was not around. Right? They believe that maybe he traveled because they locked him in. So for 2 years, which makes me draw my conclusion. So for 2 years and how many months, nobody knew he was, at least even if they thought he was alive, at least nobody knew he was still around that vicinity. So they kind of relied on that. Okay. And again, you know one thing about greed blinds someone. Okay. Greed will make you do something you don't imagine yourself doing. And again, you can be careless because remember, you're self-indulgent. You're not thinking divergently. Right? So maybe they've thought about it like, you know what, this man is about dying. They think about insurance. They'll think about this man like, you know what? Now that he's at the again, remember he was left without water, no food, no hydration, no care. Because even when his daughter even cleaned him, the first cleaning she did for her dad, if you see the debris on it, you think this man haven't bathed in like 60 years. Okay, that's me exaggerating. But did you get the picture I'm painting? So I feel like they so much relied on the negligence, like maybe them neglecting the father or something, or relying on the father. People are not so aware of what is happening to the point that they could come up, because you saw the way they lied comfortably, like, and it was almost working until one woman came, and that's the importance of community, an active community. Because again, I asked myself, what's the importance of coming to your community if you're not feeling like you're one? You know? But so I feel like they relied on that. Maybe that was where they got the audacity. And maybe it was also God. Maybe it was God that wanted to expose them, right? For being such an evil, vile being. Right? Maybe God wanted to expose them and put this. They already had greed. God didn't need to do so much work by putting in greed into them. No, I'm serious. Because if you think about it, that was why they were rushing. And because of that now raised an alarm, like, okay, you know what, I have to get back and see what is happening. And who knows, maybe if she stayed 1 more week, her dad would have passed out and all these things would have been swept under the rug. Because you know, there are some kids, All right, there's some Nigerian kids that are immigrants, maybe second generation immigrants or third generation immigrants that haven't come back to Nigeria at all. Right, the wealth that their father or their grandfather have acquired, they just looked elsewhere, right? And maybe they feel like, you know what, since they don't care about the money so much, maybe if we play this other stunt, they don't care, you know, relieve it. Maybe they felt that way, and that was how it backfired.
So if I get you straight, that we are all relying on her, forgetting her only father, just because she doesn't want to inherit any of his property and his wealth.
Maybe. So yeah, we have reached the end of today's episode. I just want to thank you, Ebuka, for being here and helping bring this story to light. Before we sign off, I want to hear from you, our Offscript family. Share your reflection, share your comments. What do you think about this? If it were you, will you even want to step your foot back in Nigeria? Okay, or if you have your own experiences with family dynamics, or share that. Okay, I would like to hear them in the comments. Once again, in my Instagram handle, you can slide in my DM, and also just slide into my DM at Amaka Sports. And I will chat you up and maybe read it out if you want me to read it out. So let me hear your biggest takeaway so far and what resonated most with you. Okay, so thank you for today. Please don't forget to hit that subscription button, leave comments, and share the story with someone who needs to hear it. Okay, and drop your review. This really helps my channel grow. Thanks till I see you in my next post. Stay safe, stay vigilant. Bye.